It is running.
I'm Martin Just from the Guildford Dragon News, and just 36 hours after the very important vote taken here at Millmead on the adoption of the local plan, I'm with Council Leader Paul Spooner. Paul, thank you for giving us your time this morning.
Okay.
What is your reaction now, 36 hours after the vote, to the result?
Well, I'm still very pleased. I think the debate was robust, and so it should have been. I think the result was the right one, and I believe that now we are already starting to talk about the next stage, which is, of course, delivering and demonstrating that it was the right decision.
Okay, and what would you say to those who are very opposed to the plan and think it's going to do significant damage to the character of our green borough?
We need to prove them wrong. You know, time will show whether we were right when we said that this was a balanced plan, and that whilst we need to deliver importantly the houses, at the same time we need to improve the infrastructure, and we need to ensure that schools, healthcare and all the other requirements that make up a community are in the right place in 10 years' time.
Okay, and why, it's a puzzle to many people why the council didn't employ the constraints available to reduce the house number or lower the use of the greenbelt.
Well, we of course have always argued we have, but the constraints are dependent on legislation and dependent on MHCLG and what they tell us, and indeed what we see elsewhere. And those that have tried to apply significant constraints on the greenbelt have found that doesn't work when you compare it with the requirement for housing. So I still believe that we looked at all the constraints and applied everything we possibly could, but on balance we put forward a plan that was compliant.
So was it advice from the ministry that resulted in that decision?
It was an advice from the ministry, from others that had experienced local plans before us, and indeed of course lawyers, our own and others.
Okay, thank you. Now, changing the subject completely, the announcement has come in the last day or so that the Debenhams are to close their Guildford branch. What can the council role be in this situation? What should be your objective as a council?
Okay, well this one is very interesting from my perspective. We've been talking for years to M&G, the freeholders. We would like to regenerate that area. Frankly, Debenhams' actual site doesn't look great at the moment in Guildford. It's in a prime place, it needs work, it needs refurbishment at the very least. And so I see this as an opportunity. But at the same time, people's shops and Debenhams, you know, was very much well liked in Guildford. So we need to remember that. So we need to remember that the loss of Debenhams from a retail perspective is disappointing but not surprising. But from the other side, significant opportunity. And I have already, in the last 24 hours, started engaging with M&G, and either they or us need to do something as soon as possible to make that a fantastic new area.
M&G are the head lease holders?
M&G are the head, no, not head lease, they're the freeholders.
Freeholders, okay.
Guildford Borough Council does not have the freehold on that site.
Right, okay. So they are the the freeholders, and then they lease it to Debenhams at the moment.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. And finally, changing subject again, how do you view your prospects, the Conservative Party's prospects, at the election on Thursday?
It's a very good question, and I have to say this time is very difficult to call, in the sense that the Brexit, the national picture, and how much that will muddle the local picture is quite difficult for me personally to be able to make judgment on. So Friday will be quite interesting to see the results. We believe that we've demonstrated that in terms of this council, I don't want to play party politics here. All major parties have taken a significant part in the last 4 years. As a council, we've delivered. So I think our record is good, but, and it's a big but, democratic process is democracy, and we will see how other effects have made a difference this time.
So do you think the Conservatives will still be in control at GBC on Friday?
Yes, I'm confident.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Great.